Exactly, exactly, and that's hard to come by nowadays. You know, with most with most performers today, like rappers, you know, they ain't really doing nothing. Now, when you talk about Busta Rhymes, my man can perform. He's doing his thing. He's really in it. It's like you can believe what he's doing. But some of the rappers, and I ain't saying no names because I ain't going to do that, but, you know, some of them, they really ain't working, man. They just up there saying what anybody could say, really. You know, so when you see performers doing their thing on stage nowadays, it's like, yo, that they really, you know, you could tell they really working away from the stage, you know, because the show is only the show. But the business part is the hardest part, and that's part of the rehearsal, you know, getting in there and rehearsing. So from working with Marvin, I went to working with Divine Stevens, and this was during the era when Divine was, like, on top of his game. Divine Stevens is, like, a known choreographer across the board, from working with TLC to working with Usher to working with just anybody that's, like, real hot. Mary J. Blige, Busta Rhymes, everybody. He puts the whole show together, the whole bit. So I left working with Marvin to get with him, and I started being his direct assistant. Anything that he touched, I started working on with him, whether I was artist developing or whether I was working on the business and making sure the shows was coming together, the tours was coming together, so on and so forth. And that allowed me to go back to my memory again with Finest Hour. And even with Boston Youth, that is like, I had to learn all of these things just to get to where I was, although I never knew that I would have to learn this stuff use the stuff that I learned from Boston Youth Theater, to Finest Hour, to the Funky Bunch, to doing the artist development. But thank God I was in those rooms rehearsing. I was in those conversations with the people that was pulling me up on my game: Larry Wu, Amari Starr, Gordon Worthy, you know, Scott Ross, Vaughn Burks, Troy Sanders, Jamal Seymour, you know, all of those people that was teaching me, Elaine Corey, Wyatt Jackson. I'm just spitting just different names.
Right.
You know, I never knew that I would need all of that. You know what I'm saying? So from after working with Divine Stevens on the artist development, incidentally, Divine Stevens is really instrumental in bringing Akon out, you know, and where Akon's at doing what he's doing now. You know what I'm saying? Like, me and Akon, we used to do a lot of songwriting together. Everywhere Divine would be, Akon be there. He'd be producing records for the company, which was called Upfront Entertainment, which it still is called Upfront Entertainment. You know, so I learned a lot from just being around him, being around that whole scene. Like, I was, like, really doing it in a different way. But remember, all of what I was learning, and each time I learned something, it's helping me springboard where I'm trying to go now. You get what I'm saying?
Every experience that you have builds on to something bigger. You take a piece, and it keeps adding on. That's right.
That's right. So all the people that's wanting to get in the game, you know, whatever you're learning, it might seem like, you know, the frustration, you really want to be there, you really want to be around the other celebrities, you really want to be around the right people. What you're learning right now is what you're going to need to know when you get there. You know, when you get to whatever destination you're trying to get to, whatever time you're at that destination. You know, I didn't know that what I learned from Boston Youth that I would need for Finest Hour. What I learned from Finest Hour, I'd need for Funky Bunch. What I learned from Funky Bunch, I would need for Marvelous Enterprise. What I learned from Marvelous Enterprise, I would need to learn for Upfront Entertainment with Divine Stevens. And from all of what I learned from that is where I'm going now. You know what I'm saying? I never really, frustration builds in as an artist. If you want to do it, you know what I mean? People, there's times when you can sign autographs and everybody wants it, and there's times when nobody don't want nothing. Well, that's the time where you go into the next phase of your life. And you can't get frustrated with it, because if you get frustrated, you're not thinking about where you're going. You're thinking about where you've been.
Right.
You know what I mean? All the names that I could put on my bio, I can't live that. I can't keep living what I did. I got to live where I'm going.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like the good good book says, the Bible says, don't go back to where you've been. Go to where, and I'm paraphrasing because I can't quote the scripture, but I'm paraphrasing. You can't go back to where you come from. You got to go where you look to where you're going. You get what I'm saying? So that's the most important part of my lifespan, is that, man, every step of the way is a learning process. Every step of the way, you're going to need what you learn to go to the next phase.
Right.
And that's what the lovely thing is about life. Not just music, not just entertainment, not just whatever you're doing. It's just learning from it and using it. Because adversity makes you move, man. If it don't make you move, it'll make you quit. And I ain't a quitter. Are you, Jarrell?
No.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're listening to Jarrell Mason on his show right now. Go ahead, Jarrell.
All right. Now, real quickly, how you feel about the current state of the music industry and the industry not really embracing technology? And also, are you surprised that Finest Hour still has a following?
Okay, well, the second question will be my first answer. I think that's awesome, man. I think that's awesome that you can get 3,000 hits from a group of guys that really not a whole lot of people knew. You know what I mean? Because we didn't have the promotion, whatever wasn't in place. But for 3,000 hits, or a little over 3,000 hits, I think that's awesome, man. I would have never thought that would be.
Mm-hmm.
So it's flattering, but I think it's just phenomenal, man. Now, as far as the second question, I think the majority of people are afraid because they don't know. You know, it's kind of like in some kind of way what I was just talking about. Where you going is what you need to stay focused on, not where you've been at. So when you tell people about the internet, the technology, all of this stuff that's going on right now with technology, it's like they scared. They like, well, I don't know nothing about the computer. I don't know how to email. I don't know how to get on the internet. I don't understand it. And really, there was a time when there wasn't television. There was a time when there wasn't records being made. There was a time when a whole lot wasn't. There wasn't a light. There wasn't a telephone. You know, there was a telephone without a wire. You know what I mean? Now you got it where the radio transitions are able for you to be on a cordless phone. It's like the reason why I feel people are not embracing it is because they're scared. And then the people that have the money, in some ways, they're scared because they don't want to put all their money, and it doesn't happen because, as you know, there was a time when the dot-com boom was supposed to be this big thing, and a lot of people lost their money on Wall Street because of it. Now, where we are today with it, it's not the same. Again, you can't look at what the dot-com was supposed to do back then, and it didn't do this big bang. Look at it now. Look at what Barack Obama's doing, man. Raising capital off of ordinary people.
Grassroots.
Right. That's like, come on, man. It's the internet. I mean, if you don't know nothing about the internet, something wrong. Right. Something's wrong. Something's really, really wrong. I mean, people have channels on YouTube, and they're getting paid from it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's like, nah, man, technology is like the way to be. You're talking to an innovator. So when you start saying something about, you know, why people aren't embracing the technology or what I think about it, man, the bottom line is, you know, we can't stay where we was. We gotta go where we're supposed to be going. And life keeps moving, and as you probably heard, life moves on without you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Whether you want to sit around and not do nothing with it, that's a problem.
Right. You either get on the bus or you just wait at the bus stop.
That's right. And the biggest part, you can create the bus. That's the awesome part about even what you're doing. You know what I mean? You're doing the live show, but then you put it on the radio.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's phenomenal, man. I'm sure you get a lot of hits, man. I'm sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, I haven't even done the research on that, but I'm sure you are getting a lot of people listening to your show, not only through the live radio format, but also on the format on what's going on the internet right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's a phenomenal thing, man. I think it's awesome, man. I congratulate you. You're a smart guy.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. Now, people go to YouTube, check out my interviews, and I'll tell you more about that later. But before we close this interview, you have any shout-outs? And do you have a MySpace where folks get in contact and see what you're doing?
Yeah, what I'm doing right now, man, there's 3 things. It's called 3D. Discover, develop, deploy. I've discovered where I'm going. I've developed what it is that's going to get me there, and now it's time that I'm deploying it. So what I'm doing now, I'm going into television and /.com, you know, what you do, you know, television, internet, or whatever you want to call it. And I've developed a television show where celebrities come on the show and flip the gig that's made them famous. They have a little bit of the stuff on TV. Now, I came up with this idea, extraordinary idea.